Hello, I'm Cheryl Meyer, and I'm otherwise known as Cheryl M. Health Muse. And what my goal is to inspire you to lead a healthier lives. So when I proposed my podcast, I proposed that we present it in two different segments. The first one is It Feels Good to Feel Good, Future Proof Your Health, where I get to share everything I have learned to return my health back to relative wellness and to live a pain-free life in spite of the fact that I have autoimmune disease. But the second part of my podcast is this episode, and that's Tell Me Your Story, the Health Muse is in. My concept with this is it's all fine and well that you hear me tell my story, but I get a lot of it's all fine and well that it worked for you, but it's not going to work for me. And I wanted you to hear that there are lots of people out there that have made changes in their lifestyle that have supported their health and brought them back to relative wellness. We all have a couple things in common. We all owned our own health. Whatever the doctor was suggesting we did was going on a parallel path to us making these lifestyle changes where we did things that cleaned up our toxic load. We all pay attention to our body. You'll hear jazz in the background because I want you to listen to the rhythm of your health, and I want you to pay attention to what your body is telling you. My body had been trying to tell me that I was going to topple over into toxic load for some time. I just wasn't listening. So if you clean up your lifestyle and if you listen to your body, you have a very good chance not of being deprived in any way, but returning to feeling darn good. And that's what these podcasts are really all about. So thank you for joining me. This is going to be a Tell Me Your Story, the Health Muse is in episode, and I hope you enjoy it. And I hope that we all inspire you to lead a healthier, happier life. Thank you.
Welcome to another edition of Tell Me Your Story, The Health Muse is in. We have a fascinating guest with us today, all the way from England. You're from England? Are you from London or just from the UK?
From the UK, especially in Manchester.
In Manchester.
Yeah.
And he's got a very interesting story to talk about how he discovered a new way to eat and it changed his health dramatically. And I do want to give a little disclaimer before we get started. Oliver has come to eating a completely plant-based diet. And you don't necessarily have to do that. Each one of us is different. I eat paleo, which means I actually eat pagan, which means I eat very small amounts of meat, but I do eat some very clean meat that eats its own specific diet. Each one of us has a different way that we're going to feel our best, but I want you to hear Oliver's story because it made a tremendous difference in his health and then in his entire family's health. So I want him to tell his story of where he started and why he changed so dramatically. So welcome, Oliver. I am thrilled to have you here today. So welcome and thank you for joining me.
Okay, thank you very much for having me. So my story started like this. Before I changed my diet, my health was really poor. I was suffering from high blood pressure. And as you know, when you're suffering from high blood pressure, you can start having heart problems, strokes, kidney failures, heart failures. And I remember even at some point, I had to spend a day and a half in hospital because of my blood pressure. And apart from that, I was suffering from headaches. I had headaches, massive headaches every day or every other day. And the headaches was so bad that I had to have some painkiller with me all the time. I was having as
Were you
well.
taking over-the-counter painkillers or were
Yes,
you
over the
taking something
counter, yeah.
worse? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, over the counter painkillers, yes. And I was suffering, I had dandruff as well. And my dandruff was so bad that when I was combing my hair, you will see the dandruff all over the place. And that's how I was dealing with that. And I had some chest pain as well. And what is bizarre is that to calm that chest pain, I had to drink some Coke. I don't know for what reason. And I remember even one day I was in a shopping center and I started to have some bad pain in my chest, and I had to find a place to buy some Coke. And apart from that, I was suffering from back pain as well. And I remember even I had to take a week off work because the back was killing me. And I had the abscesses. Every single week, I had to have some abscesses, which was really bizarre. And I was suffering from joint pain as well. And I remember even in my finger, it was really swollen, and I had to have an X-ray taken. And the doctor told me that he didn't even know why my finger was swollen. They just gave me some painkillers. And I was having some heartburn as well. And basically, it was at nearly every meal, and especially when I was eating beans. It was really, really bad. And for that as well, I was using some over-the-counter medication. And because of my bad eating habit, I had lots of problems with my teeth. And I had to go practically every month, I had to go to see the dentist. And my weight was 220 pounds.
And how tall are you?
In meters, it's 1 meter and 68 centimeters. I don't know in feet how much is it. Yeah, okay. But my BMI was 32, and if your BMI is over 30, you are classed as obese. So I was obese basically. So I was eating all sorts of food. I was eating animal product, dairy product, processed food, fast food, and my eating habit was so bad that even at midnight, I was eating. I would have my bottle of Coke with some biscuit or some cookies and stuff like that. And I was always tired because of that. I was always tired. And the days when I had to go to work, I had to drag myself out of bed. And on my days off, I was sleeping until 1 p.m. in the afternoon because I had no energy. I was always feeling tired. And I was even out of breath. And I remember at my old work, because I was working in the basement, so I had to climb the stair all the time. And I was always out of breath because of that. And if people have to see my picture, my belly was so big that it was really difficult for me even to tie my laces. And I wanted to restart playing tennis as well, because when I was young, I was playing tennis, and I even won a trophy. I really, really like tennis, but I was unable to play that anymore because my joints were aching, my back was aching, and it was really, really difficult. And I was not stressed as such, but I was really worried because I was saying to myself that the more I'm getting older, the worse my health is getting. And this was, I was really, really worried about that. And starting to see a doctor. And the doctor basically told me that he was going to put me on medication for the rest of my life. And I don't know for what reason, even though I didn't know what I know now, but I said, no, I can't go on medication for the rest of my life. And he said, okay, because you refused, I will have to record the conversation so that if something happened to you, it's not going to be my fault. I said, that's fine, no problem. And he asked me, so now what are you going to do to solve that problem? I said, okay, I'll try to do some sport. And I joined a karate club. But even by joining the karate club, my blood pressure didn't went down. It was still up. And basically, I was buying stuff like paracetamol or ibuprofen to deal with my pain. And for my heartburns, I was using a medication, I think it's called Rainy. I was buying that 2 or 3 times a week because the heartburn was so bad. And for my dandruff, I've been using the anti-dandruff shampoo for like 16 years, and there was still no changes. And for my bad back, my wife was using some Chinese vapor rub ointment, and she was using that maybe twice a week to massage my back because it was so bad. And I remember in 2016, one day I was just watching YouTube, and I saw an Indian yogi. His name is Sadhguru. And he was saying that eating animal product was not good for the human mechanism. And he said that if people were stopping with this way of eating, they will be able to cure 70% of the immune diseases or the chronic diseases. So I said to myself, okay, I will try that. It was on a certain Wednesday. And then I said to my wife, okay, I will stop eating meat and I will stop eating meat basically. And I told her that it was like I said on Wednesday. On Thursday, I went to work. When I came back, I told her to cook for me my last meal of meat. And on Friday, I started, and it's been 5 years since I've stopped all the meat product
Yeah,
and all
did you
that.
stop eating processed food at the same time and fast food?
Yes, I
Yeah.
decided on the same at the same time. Yes, and I started to read a lot of books about nutrition. For example, the book How Not to Die by Michael Greger,
It's a
Dr. Michael
great book. I
Greger.
love that
Yes,
book.
yeah. I read a book by, the title is Your Health Journey by Dr. Fred Bichy. Another book was the God Awakening Diet. The name of the author is Ennis, and another one was Timeless: Secret of Health and Rejuvenation by Andrea Moritz. And I'm starting to watch a lot of documentary like Conspiracy, What's the Health, just to gain a lot of knowledge about the plant-based. And the first week when I changed my eating, I had some very, very bad headaches for 3 days. And I had some cold sore, more abscesses, and my joint pain became even worse for a
Because you
week.
were detoxing off all the chemicals in the
Exactly.
processed food and sugar.
Yeah, exactly. And my wife was really, really scared, and she even told me that I had to stop. But I said, no, 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 I will go ahead with that. And after a week, I noticed that I did lose 11 pounds, and it really caught me. I was really, really surprised. And after 9 months, I lost 77 pounds.
That's
Uh,
9 months, 77
yes,
pounds. That's
yes.
amazing.
So I went from 220 pounds to 143 pounds in 9 months. And what I noticed that as well is that 4 months into my change, I went to my doctor to have my blood test done and stuff. And the doctor told me that I had no blood pressure anymore. It was completely gone. And with time, all the problems that I had were completely gone. For example, I didn't have any dandruffs anymore, no pain in my joint, no heartburns, no abscesses, no chest pain. And for the first time in 5 years, I've been to the dentist only once for the
Now,
first time in my life.
did you also have problems with your cholesterol and your triglycerides when you had your high blood pressure?
Yes, all of that. Yes.
All of that, yeah, because
Yeah.
they're all connected. Generally, if
Yeah.
you have the high
Yeah.
blood pressure, it comes with the bonus
Yes.
of triglycerides and cholesterol. And
Yeah,
people
it
don't
comes
know
into
that
package.
triglycerides are directly connected to sugar, but
Yeah.
cholesterol is connected to a bigger picture than just that.
Yeah. And basically all that was gone with no medication. So I took no medication, just I changed my diet and all that was gone. And what is really interesting as well is that I've not been sick for the past 5 years. I've not been sick a single day, not even the cold, the flu, nothing at all. And I've been able as well to slow down my aging process as well. Because a lot of people, when they see me, they think that I am in my late 20s, but I'm actually 51. So,
You look fantastic.
yeah,
Congratulations. Yeah,
thank you.
I know. People are surprised when I tell them I'm 72.
Yeah,
But if you eat right,
yeah,
your skin looks good, your body looks good. It because you're not shortening your telomeres. And so
exactly.
you're not aging the same way that the standard American diet and eating all that sugar and drinking all that pop is aging you.
Yeah,
So yeah, no, that's fabulous.
yeah.
So,
It's a really a miracle when you eat the right food. Your body can work wonders.
and we seem to think, at least you can tell me if this is also true in the UK, but in
Yeah,
the United States, we expect to get pain. We expect to look for the magic pill because we think that's normal. And so we don't connect the dots that it's the food that we're eating. And so we keep going to look for the next pill that's going to make us feel better. And we expect to age, we expect to hurt, we expect to have back pain and headaches, and we don't have to do any of that stuff.
Yeah, this is exactly the same thing which is here in the UK. So even for me, I knew that as you age, it's normal to be sick, it's normal to ache, it's normal, and we always look for the magic pill because people don't want to change their eating habit or stuff like that. They just want a magic pill and continue to damage their bodies. Yes, it's exactly the same here in the
Yeah,
UK.
they don't even
Everyone,
believe that what they're eating is what's damaging their bodies.
no,
Convincing people of that has become an interesting issue for me because I'm spending a lot of time talking about if you eat what we call the standard American diet, which now is being eaten in other countries in the world because so many of our food products are the basis for people's diets. But if you eat the standard American diet, you get standard American diseases. And if you
exactly.
get standard American diseases, you're going to die the standard American death. So you
Yeah.
got to change because that's not a pretty road to go down. And it comes with the aging and all the pain and all of the different diseases, whether it's autoimmune or it's diabetes or
Yeah.
it's cancer or heart disease.
Yeah.
Did you ever find out if you had a fatty liver when your blood pressure was that high? Did they ever check you for that?
No, for my liver, they didn't check, so I didn't know if that
Yeah,
was a
most
problem.
people are
But
running around with
I'm
one and
sure there
don't
was a
know.
problem.
Right.
Yeah.
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 And so, because since you had such huge changes in your blood pressure and your cholesterol and your triglycerides, my bet is your heart condition was being caused by your fatty liver, which was a
Yeah.
direct result of your diet. And I
Mhm.
just learned that the number one cause of heart disease in this country is fatty liver, even more so than smoking, which kind
Yeah.
of blew me away.
Mhm.
So thank goodness you saw this documentary and it
Yeah.
resonated and you decided you were going to change
Yeah.
because it literally saved your life.
Yeah. Exactly. It really saved my life because I just don't. So when I try to explain that to people that the change that I've done, I really feel like I was in my 20s. I have lots of energy. I don't ache. It's really powerful when you start controlling what you eat. And people have got difficulty because even when you eat the wrong food, you don't get sick automatically. It takes years, and
Yeah,
people cannot make the connection that it's the food that
I know.
is giving them all these diseases.
The body does the best it can until it can't,
Yeah.
but it builds up over time. And
Mhm.
so you think you're doing great because your body is overcompensating for the fact that you're not giving it any nutrients and you're not giving it anything it can utilize until it just
Exactly.
can't function anymore.
Yeah.
And when the liver stops functioning and it gets the fatty liver, it starts storing all those chemicals in your fat and your bones. So
Mhm.
even then, you don't realize how sick you're getting because
Yeah.
it's storing it away until it can't do that anymore either. And then when you stop, it starts leaching back out of your bones and your fat and continues the deterioration of the body. So it's
Exactly.
if I were young, I'd go back and become a biochemist. I'm really fascinated by all of this, but
Yeah.
wow, I wanted people to hear your story because I want them to see the huge difference that changing diet makes in your body and your life.
Yeah.
Now, your wife in the beginning didn't even really want you to be eating this way, but she was a good egg and she was cooking for you this way. And
Yeah.
then what happened with her?
Yeah. So, like I said, when I started this way of eating, I didn't want to pressure anyone. I didn't want people to follow me. I just said that I would do that myself. And after 2 weeks, she noticed that there were a massive change in my level of energy. She saw that I lost some weight. And because at the time her weight was 240 pounds. And she said, okay, I'm going to change that as well. And level of cholesterol was really high. and she was on medication for that, but I can't remember the name of the medication for cholesterol that she was taking. And she said, okay, I'll do that as well.
It was
And then,
probably some kind of a statin, which is also really hard on the body in its own right.
yeah, yeah, because I remember it was giving her a lot of side effects as well. So, yeah. And that's why she said, okay, I'll do that as well. And she started, and after a month, we introduced our kids as well, because we said that it was good for them as well to do that. At first, they were not happy, but we explained to them, and they were able to do that as well. But for my wife, she was able, in 18 months, she's been able to lose 99 pounds.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Totally amazing. And you sent me pictures of you and your wife and your
Yeah.
brother, which I'm going to post
Yeah.
into this video when we produce it so that people can see how you guys look today, because we have a picture of you at your high weight. I don't think I have a picture of your wife at her high weight, but I have a picture of your wife at today's weight, and she's gorgeous. So
Yeah.
she must be thrilled that she did this with you.
Yeah,
And
I think in the pictures I've sent you, there's a picture where we are, me and her, when we were still big. Yeah, I've sent you the picture, or if you don't have that, I will send you so you can see the
or I'll
before
let
and
you know.
after.
Right.
Yeah.
And then how did your brother get involved with this?
And before I get into my brother, what I would like to say as well is that the good thing is that when you lose weight in a natural way, instead maybe of going, this is my personal experience, instead of going to the gym, working very hard, or going through surgery, when you lose weight in a natural way, you lose weight naturally. But when you do that by surgery or very hard physical exercises, you lose weight so rapidly that your body cannot keep up, and you are left with hanging skin or loose skin. But when you do that on natural way, your body is doing that naturally, and you've got no loose skin or stuff like that. This is another bonus.
Yeah,
so,
the body adjusts.
Yeah, the body adjusts. And for example, another example as well is my son. He had eczema for 11 years. We've seen doctors, they prescribe all sorts of cream, but when we change it to that way of eating, it only took 2 weeks, only 2 weeks for his entire eczema to disappear completely.
Yeah. People
But for
don't
11
know
years, he had that.
That eczema, psoriasis, and
Yeah.
acne are an inside job. They're signs. Yeah, I just read a comment that your body speaks really loudly, but
Yeah.
its language is symptoms.
Mhm.
And so eczema, psoriasis, and acne are symptoms that are telling you that your body's not functioning correctly. And if you
Exactly.
change what you're eating and you change your body from the inside out, your body starts healing on the outside as well as on the inside.
Yeah.
And so how old was your son when he changed how he ate and the eczema cleaned up?
He was 11. He was 11 when we changed, and it just took 2 weeks for his entire eczema to disappear completely.
And did that make him a believer?
Exactly. That's why when they saw all these things, they said that, yeah, there must be something right with this. Because like I said at the beginning, they were not happy to change that. But they started to see lots of changes, and yeah.
Yeah, I just did 3 podcasts on children and how we need to start changing how we're feeding our children. I don't know what the situation is in the UK, but 54% of our children here have a chronic illness. Mm-hmm. And so I did 3 separate podcasts talking about, and one of the things parents say to me is my child won't eat vegetables and fruits. Yeah, they will if they start to feel good. When you start to feel good, you don't want to give that up. Yeah. And so if number one, children are little pitchers. If they see you doing it, they're going to copy you and they're going to do it too. Yeah. So were you eating together as a family around the dinner table and being the example for them when you started to change? Because that's the first big step at changing your children. And then what you want them to be, I named a term, I want them to be little veggie rangers, where they become the influencers with their friends. They don't tell their friends how to eat, but they don't want to eat the food that their friends are eating either because it makes them sick. And so their friends start to notice that, you know, your kids are feeling really good. And what are they doing that's making them feel so good that they don't want to eat this other food? And then it starts to multiply, and it can happen.
Yeah.
But you have to be committed to it. You have to talk to your kids like they are the
Yeah.
intelligent beings they are, and
Mhm.
then they start to feel better. And when I was shocked at how smart my body was, that my body started to tell me how it felt. And to this day, when I get up, I look in the mirror and I ask myself, how do I feel? Because if anything is off with me, I adjust immediately. I feel like a little computer that goes, "Ee, what did
Yeah,
I do in
exactly.
the last
Mhm.
couple of days that has made me have this inflammation or this puffiness?" Or, like I told you with the COVID shot, I got
Yeah.
inflammation and brain fog. I knew what it was, but if
Mhm.
I can, I adjust immediately because I don't want to ever go back to where I was. I
Yeah.
love feeling good.
Mhm.
And so you obviously were really enjoying all the benefits of eating this way as well. And
Yeah,
your whole
definitely.
family started to enjoy it.
Yeah, because like you said, you need to preach by example. When you preach by example, it's easier for your kids to follow that. Yeah. And if their health has been transformed, they don't get sick anymore. So it's really, really, really good.
Well, and they have energy. They can actually get out and do things, and they have more brain power to learn.
Yeah, yeah.
The benefits are overwhelming, but you don't
Mhm.
even think about it when you're eating all that icky food and it's slowing you down and making you feel lousy.
Yeah,
I'm convinced that most people here don't even realize how lousy they feel.
yeah.
When I got sick, I'd been feeling lousy for a long time, but I didn't pay attention to it because I was too busy doing. And so it
Mhm.
went past my brain so quick, I didn't stop to think about it.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I don't ever want to go back there. Okay, so
yeah.
continue with your story.
Yeah, so with my brother, he was just like me, he was suffering from high blood pressure. He was pre-diabetic. And like you said, he was suffering from psoriasis. And he had that for 8 years. And the doctor put him on very strong steroid. And they told him as well that he will have that for the rest of his life. So I remember he came to visit me because when I made the change, I didn't tell him, I didn't tell him nothing. And I think he just came to visit me, and he was really, really surprised to see me really slim. And he said, "What have you done?" I said, "Don't. This is the way I'm eating." And he said, "Okay, I will try that." And he stayed at my house for a couple of days. And for those couple of days, he didn't eat meat or stuff like that. And he started to feel a change. And when he went back to his house, he said, "Okay, I will do that as well." And he's been doing that, and he's been able to lose 73 pounds that he has been able to lose. His pre-diabetic is gone. His psoriasis is gone. Every single ailment that he had is completely gone. And now he's feeling energetic, and everything is fine with him, and he doesn't get sick anymore as well. So it's been a very, very powerful journey for all of us.
That's fantastic. Have other people in your lives noticed what's going on with you guys and started to shift?
Yes, some of the people, for example, some of my friends, they're starting to do that a little bit, but they are not really, really committed. But some of them will send me messages to say that, for example, with starting to incorporate more fruit, more vegetables, and we're starting to feel a little bit better. We are not feeling bloated anymore, and they are just changing stuff like that. But for the clients that I've got, yeah, because they are following that, they are starting to see a lot of changes. Yeah.
Now, I know you eat fruit in the morning.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't eat as much fruit as you're eating, but there are tremendous nutrients in fruit. So why don't you talk about the reason why you start your day on fruit and then you move into the vegetables later in the day?
Yeah. So why do I do that? It's because when you eat raw food, you've got a lot of live enzymes. And that's why you've got lots of live enzyme, and then your body doesn't have to produce lots of energy to try and digest the food. That's why I start with the fruit, a lot of variety of fruit, and at 7, because I only eat twice a day. I don't have no snack, stuff like that, because when you eat, the most spending of your energy is to digest food. So your body will spend 80% of the energy trying to digest food. So if you're grazing all day long, your body will have to produce that energy to try and digest the food. And the healing and the cleansing can only be done when you're not digesting food. And that's why I only eat twice a day. So it's at noon and at 7. And so I've got, in a week, it's 14 meals. So out of those 14 meals, 3 are cooked meal and 11 are raw.
Oh,
So for example,
interesting.
yeah.
I
So
ask
for
people to do
example,
half and half. So yeah.
yeah. So for me, I do 80-20. So 80% it's raw and 20 it's cooked. So for example, today it's Thursday. I will had some fruit at noon, and tonight I'm going to have some fruit with a salad. So it's only on Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays that I eat cooked food at night at 7,
Yeah,
basically.
you actually get different benefits from cooked food than you
Yeah,
get from raw food.
yeah,
So, and you're doing naturally without even thinking about it. You're doing intermittent fasting
yes,
because you're only eating at noon and then at 7. So the
yeah,
rest of the time, you're actually fasting and
yeah,
allowing your body to adjust.
yeah.
So that
Yeah,
has also been very
intermittent
good for
fasting
you.
is very powerful. Yeah,
Right. So now you're this new person. Your
yeah,
wife is this new person. Your
yeah.
children are on board and they're becoming new people. So did you go back to school? I know you wrote a book and I now know you coach. Did you go back to school so that you could do that? Tell me about the rest of your progression here.
Yeah, so when I starting, like I said, I'm starting to learn all these things with the books, program, documentary, and stuff. And then I starting to follow a course on the online, and I've got a qualification, a certification as an international from the International Association of Therapists. So that's where I got my qualification to be able to start coaching people to go on a weight loss. And the program that I have, it's not only a weight loss program, but it's really packed with powerful insight that people can use to transform their life. So it's basically a lifestyle that they need to change, not only to lose the weight, because people are so focused on just losing weight. But losing weight should be a byproduct of being in a good health.
Right.
So
I
that's,
try to
yeah,
get people to understand they need to eat for health
yeah,
and the weight will take care of itself.
exactly,
So
exactly.
So now you have graduated, now you're
Mhm.
coaching, and you
Yeah,
decided to write a book to tell the world about what happened to you.
yeah.
So um, tell me a little bit about writing the book and where people could find the book.
Yeah. So after all the changes that I went through, all this transformation, uh, first of all, I became a speaker so that I can go and speak to places to spread the message. But I said that I cannot go everywhere. So if I write a book, then people will be able to buy it, because with the technology, people can have that electronically, like in Kindle and stuff like that. So I said I will write the book so that people will I will be able to share all this transformation, all this knowledge. So in the book that I wrote, I wrote it down in 2019. So basically, I started with in the book to speak about why, in my opinion, why I think that people are more herbivores. I spoke about the why the animal product, what the dairy product, what the processed food can add adverse effect on the human mechanism. And then I explain the transformation that I went through. And then I explain as well how the medical system deals with illnesses, because in the medical system, they just deal with the symptoms. They will give you medication to suppress the symptoms, but they don't address the root cause, because the root cause is the real problem. If you address the root cause, everything will go away. It's like, for example, I had massive headaches. I was taking all these pills, but you will take the pills. After a couple of days, the headaches comes back. But when you deal with the root cause, it goes for good. And then at the last part of my book, I give a lot of steps that people can change if they want to transform their health. So, for example, drinking enough water, filtering your water, because in the water they put fluoride, chlorine, and stuff like that. So I've given
Yeah,
lots of
we
steps
have all
that
of the
people,
industrial chemicals
yeah,
that go down into our water tables, and that's coming right. Plus, people throw things like pharmaceuticals down the toilet. And guess
yeah,
what? That comes out of your faucet. So
exactly,
it's really important to filter what you're
yeah,
drinking. And we have a city here in America called Flint, Michigan, and people think that that's a unique situation. And guess what? Most water systems in America have crud in them that we don't want to be drinking and putting into our body.
yeah,
And even our showers and our baths. Our skin is
exactly.
our largest organ. So all
Mhm.
that's coming through our skin and going into our bodies.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why, for example, in my house, I've got my shower head. It's got a filter in it so that when we shower, we are protected from all this stuff. And then they can have the book is available on Amazon. So if people go on Amazon, they will be able to find the book. Yeah,
And I think I looked it up. You can get it on Amazon US as well as on Amazon
yeah,
UK. It's
yeah,
available on
yeah,
both.
yeah.
So give me an idea of the weight loss programs that you're running and what kinds of results you're getting from people who are joining them.
Yeah. So the program that I've got is an online program, and it's got 8 stages because I recognize that people cannot go cold turkey like me. That's why I've put that in stages. And when you go in stages, you don't really have all this detox like I had. And when people have those detox, the first thing that they will do they want to stop. They will say, no, this is not working for me, and they will stop. That's why I've put that in 8 stages. And for each stages, people can spend 3 weeks so that their body can get accustomed to the new changes. And when they are ready, they can go on to the next stages. And if people have to stay on the 8 stages for 3 weeks, it will take them 16 weeks to finish all the program. But if they feel that they are ready to move on before the 3 weeks, by all means, they can do that. And after when they finish the program, if they want, first of all, they will have a 30-minute coaching call with me, where they can ask all the questions that they've got and stuff like that. And if after they finish the program, if they want, they can still book some private coaching session with me. That's what I do. And if people cannot, they cannot buy the online program for any reason, they can still get in touch with me, and we can arrange some private coaching session. And I've got loads of people who have sent me messages. For example, last week, there's a guy, he lives in Canada. He sent me a message. He said, hello, coach. Thanks a lot. From 240 pounds to 204 pounds. So that's what they've been able to do. Another one have sent me a message saying that you are and will be a blessing for me. Your coaching has completely changed the course of my life. Another one has told me the coaching that I've done, they said that your story has saved my life. It has changed the way I choose what to eat. I'm still a long way from my goal, but every day I see a difference in my level of energy, the clarity of my mind, and most of all, I no longer feel bloated. So there
All of
are
which are
lots of
huge.
people who
Right.
are sending me messages. Another one, even after reading my book, he said, I've been eating a vegan diet, but the book has opened my eyes to processed food and how bad it is for us. I now eat a whole food plant-based diet as described by the author and have lost nearly 42 pounds without going hungry. A great book full of valuable info. So I'm receiving lots of uh, powerful
Testimonials, they're fabulous.
testimonials and stuff. Yeah, yeah. So if you follow the program and if you stick to it, you will see a benefit. But what people have to understand is that when you follow a program, you need to follow that diligently. You need to have discipline because nothing comes without discipline. If you're not disciplined and you think that things will change magically, That's not, it's not going to happen that way, because most people, like we've said before, people want the magic pill. They just take that and the problem are solved. But that's not the case. You need to sacrifice, you need to be diligent, you need to put discipline. And if you do that, yes, you will see the change, and you will be able to keep off the weight that you lost.
But once you get off the sugar and the chemicals in processed food, it gets easier to be disciplined because there are some physiological things that happen to your body
Yeah.
that don't keep calling you back to that food. I used to eat a big Thanksgiving dinner and then I'd be in the kitchen slicing away at the pumpkin pie until it was all going. How could I possibly be hungry?
Yeah.
Because I just ate a huge Thanksgiving dinner. And it ends up that that food actually turns off two little hormones called ghrelin and leptin that regulate our appetite. So I had no stop button in my body. So I didn't
Exactly.
realize that I really didn't want to eat that food because I was already full because it wasn't working.
Yeah.
And I was hooked. I was addicted to all of those chemicals and all of that sugar and all of that food. So
Yeah.
once you get away from that, the discipline is not as difficult.
You're completely right. You're perfectly right. Yeah. And that's what people don't understand. That if you start, like you said, you stay away from the sugar and stuff, it becomes easy to follow the path. Yeah.
But
And
yeah,
when you do
a
that,
magic pill is going to, what magic pills do, in case people haven't figured this out, they might help you with whatever you're taking the pill for, but they're causing other havoc somewhere in your body.
exactly.
None of them are a free ride. They give you here and they take us away there. And so to do it with real food, which is really the way that nature intended us to be healthy, then you're not dealing with all the negative. There's nothing negative that happens when you start eating a real food diet. Your
Yeah.
body just starts to get what it needs so that it can function properly. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, you don't need the pills.
No, no,
And
because it's like even for the blood pressure medication, you can take that. Yes, it's going to lower your blood pressure, but it's going to be a poison for your liver, your heart, and your kidneys. And you will start suffering maybe some headaches, some sexual impotence, lots of problems that will come as a byproduct of taking those medications. But when you change your diet, then the problem is solved. You don't
right,
have these problems anymore. Yeah.
because you're giving yourself all the phytonutrients that it needs to rebuild the cells in your body.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, yep. So, what's next for you?
What next for me? I'm just waiting now for this lockdown to be over, and then we're going to start to go and speaking, spreading the message. That's really, really what I want now, is to go and start meeting people, talking to people, spreading the message, so that people will really, really understand that it's possible to live a disease-free life. Because what people need to understand is that when we are born on this earth, the most important thing that we've got, it's our body, it's our temple, and we've only got one. So we need to make sure that we are in good health so we can have a longer and fruitful life. And people need to realize that we are the master and we've got the power to change whatever we want.
Yeah, I
And
couldn't
that's
agree
what
with
I
you more.
want to spread. Yeah.
And the more of us that are on parallel lanes talking about this, will eventually get more people to hear it. I read a quote the other day that it takes 17 times for someone to hear something before they start to accept it as a possibility and then as truth.
Yeah.
So the more all of us are out there talking about this, I'd really like to change the way America eats. I'd like to see you change the way the UK eats. It's important.
Yeah.
And how old are your kids now?
My first one is 23. The second one is, she's a girl, she's 19. And then the other one will be 16 next month. And the last one is 10.
So you have 4. And are they
Yeah,
all
4
still
kids.
eating the program?
Yes, they're eating the program. Yes,
And
definitely.
they don't
And
have any problems resisting?
no, I was even surprised because my last one starting to eat that way, plant-based, when he was 5 years old. And I was really surprised. He told me that he can't remember the taste of meat. He doesn't remember how the meat tastes. I was really, really surprised when he told me that. Yeah. So
And people don't realize you can get all your protein from plants. You don't need to have it come from meat sources.
Yeah,
There are other ways to get your protein so that
yeah,
your body gets everything that it needs.
yeah, exactly. So they are thriving. They've got no problem. They are really, really happy. And they told me that they're not going to go back to that old way of eating because they've seen the transformation. And yeah, yeah, none of them are fat. All of them are slim. So it's really good. Yeah,
And I bet they do well in school because they have the full use of their
definitely.
brain because of all
Yes.
the nutrients that they're
Yeah.
eating.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what people don't understand, that when you eat the right food, your brain starts working differently.
And for anybody who's my age, which I
Mm.
shared with you is 72, when you
Yeah.
eat correctly, you even ward off dementia. And I don't want dementia. I don't want to
Mm.
go there. So
Yeah.
it's worth it for me to eat this clean because that gives me the brain power to not get dementia. And
Mm.
sugar is the number one cause of Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and the
Yeah.
things that cause dementia.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to go there, clean up what you're eating. It makes all the difference in the world.
Definitely. Yeah. Because what people need to understand is that we are what we eat. Yeah. We are what we eat. There's no other way.
Yeah, and when you don't have health, you don't have anything.
Yeah.
When I lost my health, I didn't share my story with you, but I woke up one morning in extreme pain and it didn't go away. And so I
Mm.
went to the doctor and she ran tests and I went again and she ran more. And after the fourth trip, she called me and said, "There's nothing wrong with you." I said, "That's ludicrous. I hurt." And she said, "Well, I think you ought to go for mental therapy. But since you say you hurt, I'm going to give you steroids." I
Yeah.
said, "Now," I said, "read my lips to this doctor. Why would I take steroids if there's nothing wrong with me?"
Yeah.
That makes
Exactly.
sense. I said,
Mm.
"But I know there's something wrong with me. So I'm going to go research and I'm going to go find it." And I started with changing my food and eliminating toxins from other areas of my life. And
Yeah.
at the end of 5 years, I had no pain and I had eliminated literally hundreds of toxins from my life. And I understood why it was so important to eat organic. I was not eating genetically modified foods. I know
Yeah.
it's a little more transparent in the UK, but
Yeah.
here they don't even tell you when they're using genetically modified ingredients in food.
Mm.
People in we were there 2 years ago on vacation, and
Yeah.
a couple of people there said, "I can't believe that they don't allow you to label that because it's all very clear on our food." But they also all warned me to stay away from anything from Spain because that food was all genetically modified. So it was interesting because I wasn't sure how other countries were dealing with what we had learned.
Yeah.
And so you guys are cleaner in some ways, but you're still eating a lot of American processed foods and
Exactly.
products.
Yeah.
And um, I know that when Trump negotiated the last deal for trade with the UK, they actually wrote in that you guys had to buy our genetically modified crops.
Which is not good.
It's horrible. Shame on
Horrible.
us.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's getting out to the whole world and the health of the world is all going to be impacted from it if the message doesn't get out that there's a better way. There
Yeah.
is a better
And
way.
when they do that, people will get sicker and they will buy more medication, which will make them sicker. And
Yeah,
it's an endless cycle.
it's an endless cycle. Even when I feel bad for Bayer because they bought Monsanto just before Monsanto had to cough up that they'd known for 20 years that glyphosate was causing cancer in people. Um, but it was a perfect storm for Bayer because they wanted people to be getting the illnesses. I don't know if it was spoken, but that
Yeah.
way they got to sell more medication. They're a
Exactly.
huge drug company. And so
Mhm.
it was this evil circle that just continued. But they've now paid out $80 billion to people who got sick from
Yeah.
glyphosate. So we all have to remember these companies are out to make profit. They're not
Exactly.
out
That's
there
what
to
people
make us
don't
healthy.
understand. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. And so and I don't know about England, but in the United States, there's too much money passing. Our government is not protecting us from all of the toxins being sprayed on our food in factory farming, in factory ranching, and then in big food and in pharmaceuticals. And
Yeah.
so the only way we're going to deal with it is if we all take responsibility for ourselves, stop buying this stuff, and join together. And in the 10 years since I started researching, I am seeing some small shifts,
Yeah.
but it's going to take a long time. But we all need to get on board because it's not going to change unless we do.
Yeah. Definitely, we need to do whatever we can to make it, to spread the message. So the more people will hear that, the more they will be inclined to change, because your health is your most important asset. There's nothing else. Because even if you are rich, but you've got a poor health, it's
You don't have
difficult for you
anything.
to enjoy your wealth. You need to be in good health. And that's what people need to recognize, and not just taking pills. Because like you said, the drugs company, they just want to make profit. And the best way for them to make profits is for people to get sicker. And the more you are sick, the more medication they give you, and they make profit, which is not the right way
Yeah.
to go. You need
And
to address the root
obesity
symptom.
is big business, gang. It's huge. It's a multi-billion-dollar business for us to
Mm.
all stay obese. So, yeah, not good. I actually interviewed a woman who had become a doctor in Russia yesterday. And when she emigrated to the United States, she studied to take her boards to be a doctor here. And she
Yeah.
said the entire test was, you have this symptom, what pill do you match to it? And in Russia, they had a much more holistic approach to health.
Yeah.
And she thought, I can't practice this way. And so she passed her boards and never became a doctor. She went to coaching school. She went to IIN where I went, and then
Mm.
hung up her shingle as a holistic health coach. And it was great because she had this medical background. So she understood things probably at a deeper level than most of us who became health coaches, but she is
Yeah.
practicing the same kind of help and coaching that I am, where it's really lifestyle based. And that's what it needs to be. And doctors, they don't even know about nutrition. In this country, they get less than half a day on nutrition in medical school.
Yeah, when I heard that first, I thought maybe it was a joke, but a lot of doctors are saying that really they don't take nutrition courses,
Yeah.
and
So
that's
when a doctor tells you to lose
unbelievable.
weight and you say, great, what should I do? And they sort of look at you blankly, it's because they don't know,
Yeah.
because that wasn't on their curriculum. They never studied that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's kind of crazy. And yet, at least here, I have a term for how we treat doctors. We call them our who said of the greatest magnitude. They're God. Whatever they say, we're going to go do, because they're the doctor. And
Mm.
they don't live in your body, so they don't know how you feel. So you have to be the person who is the greatest of the magnitude, because you're the only one who knows what to do for you.
Yeah.
And a lot of it you can do without permission from anybody. You have the power.
And what is really a little bit bizarre is that when you look at Hippocrates, he said to the doctors that the food need to be your medicine, but they don't even study nutrition, which is really, really bizarre.
It is.
Mm.
I know. I know. We've gotten far away from the model of health. And so we're just covering up symptoms, which is not a way to
Yeah.
live.
Yeah.
So, okay, fantastic. I hope I have all your links. I know I have the link to your book, but I want people to be able to find you because I will put it right underneath the podcast. If there's one more thing that you would like to share with the audience, what would it be?
What I can say maybe is to give them maybe a few tips if they would like to be in better health and to lose weight. Maybe what they can do is to incorporate lots of fruits and lots of plenty of vegetables in the diet, to try and do intermittent fasting, not necessarily like the way I do, but maybe if they can eat 3 times a day and try to avoid as much as possible snacking. If they can get more active, because when you are active, it's going to enables your body to get all the toxins out and get all the nutrients. And when I say exercising, it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to join a gym or something like that, you can just do walking. Walking is just good. It's fine to do walking. You can do as well, drink plenty of water, because mostly people don't drink water. Or what people need to understand is that our bodies is 72% water, and a lot of function to be executed need water, and no other drinks will replace water. And like we said, we need to filter our water as well. And people need to use as well to cook with good fat, instead of
Yeah.
just using any
I
kind of
posted
oil.
today, it needs to be omega-3 fats.
Yeah,
And not to cook with olive oil because it has a very low heat factor. So you can use olive oil. It's a great oil. It's a great omega-3 oil. Use it in your salads, but don't use it to cook. It has too low of a burn point.
yeah,
But there are lots of other great options in coconut oil and grapeseed oil and avocado oil. And I use ghee, even though I don't eat dairy. You probably don't because you stay away from animal
yeah,
products. But
yeah,
I can't have dairy, but ghee has all the milk solids taken out. And it's a very high CLA oil, so it's very healthy for the body. So there are options for you to use that feed your brain and feed your body healthy fats.
yeah. Yeah, and then another tips as well, they can start cooking themselves, where they control the quality and the quantity of all the ingredients they use, because when you you mostly buy processed food, you don't really know what's it inside, because there are lots and lots of bad toxins in those products. So it's better if you can cook yourself, and where you can control all this stuff. And the last thing is to really avoid a lot of sugar, all these sugary drinks, the sugary stuff, they need to avoid that. And this will be a very, very good start for them to transform their
Yeah,
lives.
sugar is destroying every organ in their body.
Yeah,
One other thing that you didn't mention, stress.
yeah,
Everybody needs to
exactly.
learn to
Yeah,
control their stress
yes,
because stress
definitely.
also impacts every organ in your
Yeah,
body. And
yeah.
when I got sick, I had absolutely no cortisol. I was right on the border of Addison's disease. And my doctor was, "What's to do? You're not diseased yet." When I got to a functional doctor, she looked at me and said, "Oh, there's plenty we're going to do because that is not acceptable. And why would
Yeah.
I want you to get disease before we did something about it?" So my
Mm.
cortisol is back up to normal so that my body is functioning. But I've learned all kinds of ways to control my stress through the
Yeah.
day. I don't let it become chronic or toxic anymore.
Mm. Yeah, that's a good point. Stress, yes.
So, okay. Thank you very much. I'm so glad we finally got to talk. I know we had a couple of back and
Yeah.
forth till we got together, but it's such a great conversation. And I am thrilled to share this with my listeners. And so that you know, this podcast is now heard in 80 countries.
Ah, that's very good.
And I'm third on my channel. So lots of people are listening. And so
Yeah.
more people are interested in finding ways to improve their health than I could have hoped for when I started this almost a year ago. I'm just at the 1 year point with my podcast, so it's been a lot
Ah,
of fun. So
yeah.
thank you for being my guest. You were a fabulous guest, and it was a great conversation. And I will let you know when it goes live so that you then can take it, put it on your website, do whatever you want with it to advertise it for yourself as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate the opportunity that you gave me to be on your show. I really
Thank you.
appreciate it, and
Thank you.
thank you very much.
I'm happy to introduce you to everyone here. So best of luck to you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.